Hey everybody! Great to see you on this Monday, November 14th, 2022. It is Monday night, and we are about to talk about the Arizona Cardinals today. We're going to review a little bit of the 27-17 victory over the Rams of Los Angeles, formerly of St. Louis, formerly of Los Angeles, formerly of Cleveland. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what to expect next. So let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to review the victory over the Rams. We're going to be like, why did they win? There's three reasons why they won. Number one, Colt McCoy and the steady offense. I know that they didn't gain a ton of yards. They gained under 300 yards of offense. But what Colt McCoy did, he didn't turn it over. Cardinals were good on schedule. They were solid on third down. They were very good situationally. The offense just looked functional. And obviously DeAndre Hopkins is just a baller. It's crazy that they threw 11 passes to start the game. Like Colt McCoy was just, they came out fired on their first drive, 14-play drive, after the Rams had a 14-play drive. I know each team had a 14-play drive, pretty much took up the entire first quarter, just the first two drives of the game. But the offense was steady, led by Colt McCoy. You can't complain at all about the offensive performance. I was actually not pleasantly surprised because Colt did it last year. Number two, Budda Baker. Yeah, Budda Baker, who was supposed to be out for a couple weeks, actually played and played awesome. Came up with the game-sealing interception in the fourth quarter, up 24-10. The defense as a whole played one of their best games of the season. I would say up there with the first game up in Seattle, also the game against Philadelphia, game against Carolina. I'd say that three-game stretch probably was the games you could rival. This was up there with those performances, but Budda Baker is just the emotional leader. You saw him on Hard Knocks, just how angry he was that they lost. You can tell that he just gives a rip. And that, sorry guys, that actually is a big reason why. Just him playing was just a big emotional reason why the Arizona Cardinals won this football game and really controlled the game from start to finish, which is our number three reason. Steady start. So the Rams kicked a field goal. Now in 10 games, the Cardinals have given up a score in 9 of the 10 games to the opposing's first drive, which is just terrible. We're gonna go into the next game here in a minute, but you need to have a better start, and that's what they had in this game. You know what? After the Rams kicked the field goal, the Cardinals went and responded, and in the second quarter, 3 straight 3-and-outs, and the Cardinals had back-to-back touchdowns. The big-time forced fumble by Demike of John Wolfer. It was not the Wolf of Wall Street. It's not 2020. It's not the pandemic anymore. Sorry. You're not beating the Cardinals like you did in 2020. And the key is that they got off to a steady start after they held the Rams to a field goal in their first drive, went down and got a field goal, and then scored a couple touchdowns late in the first half. A.J. Green showing up. Holy crap. Robbie Anderson has caught one pass for -4 yards since the Cardinals got a great trade there, Steve Keim. And to tell you the truth, he's probably going to get relegated to the bench even more because there's a chance that Hollywood is going to be back next week. There's a chance. It's not for sure. But now with, without the Cardinals quarterback security blanket, Zach Ertz, unfortunately, out for the season, you're going to need all of the offensive targets. And this is what we're going to talk about what's next, because everybody's going to say, what's next, Because there is a lot to discuss this week. And I just wanted to review. And you know what the key is? I know that this has been a disappointing season. But as we know, watching the Dodgers and the Lakers and even the LA Kings, if you want to go to hockey, LA has been our daddy in sports. So when we beat LA in anything, you don't complain about it, us Arizona sports fans. You bask in its glory, especially with Sean McVay, who's been Cliff Kingsbury and the Cardinals' daddy since he's been in LA. And it's only the second time. Cardinals have yet to beat the Rams, we know, in Arizona, but it's only the second time. Each of the last 2 seasons in the regular season, the Cardinals won in LA, and he pretty much buried the Rams. The Rams, they're done. They're done. They have to play at New Orleans, and I know New Orleans is kind of an underachieving team, and then at the Chiefs, a game they have no chance in. A good chance the Rams are going to be 3-8. They still have to play the Hawks twice. It is not looking good for the Rams. The Rams are done. And really the key for the Cardinals is, can they finish strong enough to stay out of the NFC West cellar? Anyways, to what's next. So They went from like a 0.2% to like a 4% chance to win the division, thanks to the victory over the Rams combined with the Seahawks losing in Germany to the Bucs. And the Seahawks still have a challenging schedule, to be honest with you, down the stretch. The Seahawks, they still have to play the Chiefs. They still have to play the Niners again. They still have to play the New York Jets, which is a surprisingly tough game. The Seahawks still have some challenging games left on their schedule. And they play the Rams twice, which I guess is not challenging at this point because the Rams look like they're done like dinner. But you never know. Maybe Matthew Stafford and crew show up some game, probably without Cooper Kupp. I don't know. That injury looked pretty bad for Cooper Kupp. But what's next for the Cardinals? Okay. So they had to, after they lost to the Seahawks, they had to finish 4 games better in the standings with 9 games left against Seattle. Well, they got a win, Seattle got a loss. So now they need to finish 3 games better than Seattle in the standings. So pretty much you have to get the 10 wins and hope Seattle has 9. To get the 10 wins, you have to go 6-1 down the stretch. You have 2 games against the Niners. And outside of those 2 games against the Niners, well, I guess you would say the Patriots, Chargers, and Bucs are all home games, which the Cardinals, you would say if they protect the nest, would be a little bit different. But, you know, the schedule, the toughest part of the schedule is past. Like, the schedule is, it's not easy, but it's also not brutally tough. Like a talented team like the Cardinals, could they go on a run? Sure. Will they? Probably not. But, as I said, I still think the loss of Seattle buries you. But I will say this. If the Cardinals find a way to beat San Francisco on Monday night in Mexico, the Cardinals will be a half game out of the last playoff spot, and they'll have the tiebreaker over the 49ers. As I said, the division is probably done. I don't think they jump Seattle. Probably not. You never know. You never know. But probably not. So, but that last playoff spot, if San Francisco could falter, you know, I've talked about this in my column. The San Francisco 49ers, they could be the 2010 Chargers, the 2002 Miami Dolphins, the, man, I'm trying to think of a team in recent memory. The 2008 Patriots. Those are teams that I think that I remember their metrics or they were one of the best teams. 2010 Chargers by DVOA and every other metric. And shoot, Dorktown wrote about it. They're the number 1 rated team in the league, yet went 9-7 and missed the playoffs. The 2008 Patriots, 11-5 with Matthew Castle, rated top 5 team that season, missed the playoffs. 2002 Dolphins had one of the best defenses in the 21st century, missed the playoffs. What I'm saying is, this Niners team, they're a metric darling, and when they're on, they look awesome. They have Pro Bowlers all over the roster, but Jimmy Garoppolo, sometimes situationally, Jimmy Garoppolo and this team is not great, and you never know. I mean, this is the team that could the Niners go 9-8 and miss the playoffs, and the Cardinals somehow beat them twice? The Cardinals have had their number. I mean, they swept them in 2018 with Josh Rosen. They beat them. They swept them last season, and the Niners went to the NFC Championship. You'd say the Niners and the Cardinals are pretty evenly matched last year, but the Cardinals swept them, kicked the crap out of them, kicked their teeth in San Francisco with Colt McCoy. Just saying. Like, the Cardinals is a team they've had success against next week. So if they beat the Niners, they still have a chance to make the playoffs. I mean, the other teams battling, Washington got a big win tonight. Green Bay, Arizona, San Francisco. San Francisco is the front runner for the last spot. Then are Seattle. But if the Cardinals beat San Francisco, they're right there for the last playoff spot. We'll see what happens with, I think Washington's on a bye. Green Bay plays Tennessee on Thursday. That game's a coin flip. But Green Bay still has to play the Eagles. They still have to play the Eagles. They still have to play, I believe, the Dolphins. They obviously play the Titans. The Packers have a pretty tough schedule still. So Rodgers and company, Rodgers can get on a heater as he showed yesterday and maybe unlock something to Christian Watson. But what I'm getting at, I guess, the whole thing is that the Cardinals still have a chance to make the postseason if they beat. The season still has hope if they beat the Niners. As I said at the beginning of this 4-game stretch, I said you go 3-1, you might be in first place. You go 1-3, you're done. You go 2-2, you're kind of stuck in football purgatory where it's like, eh. And that's what they'd be at. They'd be kind of stuck in the mud if they win the game, but they still be hanging on for dear life. They'd be hanging on, to the edge of the pickup truck. Also, what's next? There's no quarterback controversy. You pay Kyler Murray $230 million. Now, yesterday it was a good day for the team. It was a good day for Cliff Kingsbury, who actually thoroughly outcoached Sean McVay. It's probably the first time I've ever said that. But Cliff Kingsbury, it was a good day for him. It was a bad day for Kyler Murray. It made it seem like, and I saw John Gambadoro talk about this. I know he watches film. Love your show, by the way. He talks about how Kyler Murray just does not quite see the field. And something that Colt McCoy does, he doesn't have the athleticism, arm strength. He has, only a fraction of the talent that Kyler Murray does, even though Colt McCoy was a far better college quarterback than Kyler Murray, believe it or not. Even though Kyler Murray won the Heisman Trophy. Let's just remember Texas in the late 2000s. Truth is that Kyler it's still Kyler's team. And I think that their best chance to beat the Niners on Monday night is Kyler coming out and being special. That's just the truth. I think to expect Colt McCoy to go beat the Niners in Mexico is a big ask. But if Kyler plays and can play special, be kind of like that Vegas in the second half in Vegas, Kyler Murray, the Cardinals can win this game. I mean, they can beat any team in the league. And they have the talent. The defense, as I said, the Seattle game was rough towards the end, but for the most part, the defense has been pretty average, which is better than what we expected this season. Anyways, thank you for watching. I guess we have something to still talk about. The season's hanging on by a thread. Follow me on Twitter, Stu Drew. I appreciate you watching and listening. We'll talk more tomorrow. Have a great day.